So what is going on with banking in Thailand at the moment, guys? A lot of stories coming out of late. Damo and I are just at the market here, somewhat to do a little bit of shopping, but somewhat to come and investigate ourselves what's going on with the local vendors. Through having a channel with a lot of expats on here, I get a lot of stories, a lot of direct anecdotal stories of what's going on. Not only have some accounts been frozen from, it seems to be particular banks, it doesn't seem to be all banks that have the same problem. I can tell you SCB, my bank, has not had any issue at all. But not only have these banks been frozen, but they often contain quite a lot of money. Some of these bank accounts that expats are using for their visa, so they're containing 400,000 if it's a marriage visa, or 800,000 baht if it is a retirement visa. And from the stories that I've heard, some are really having trouble getting access to those funds again. Some have also been in the bank, presented all the documentation, shown that they are who they say they are, and still not been able to access funds immediately, and even in some cases being told they have to wait a few months to get access to those funds. Apparently all of this is some form of anti-fraud activity, in that they want to stop money laundering in Thailand, and so you have to do a lot of KYC, know your customer. I'm not sure why it is in some banks and not others. That doesn't make much sense to me if there's not a consistent policy across the board. But then again, often when things like this happens, it very rarely makes much sense to me. Also, as we know, the libel laws are pretty intense here in Thailand, so I don't want to name the banks, but you can go and look it up, which bank seems to have the problem. And if you are opening a bank account in Thailand, you might want to be selective under which bank that you choose. But suffice to say, a number of expats are pretty worried about this situation, and a number of wannabe expats are a little bit concerned of having their money frozen. There are other ways that I know some expats get around this. Some use their wife's accounts. So in other words, they'll transfer funds from the UK or wherever they're from to their wife's account. And there are some tax benefits of that as well, in that you are allowed to give a certain number of gifts to your wife and direct family per year, which is written off as tax-free. So some people do that, and they then allow the wife to manage the money. They're less worried then of their account being frozen, and they can also withdraw cash, of course. If you're retired and you don't have a wife, it's not really much of an option for you. It's only if you're on a marriage visa. And now on to the second part of the story, and one of the reasons we're actually here in the market today to see for ourselves what's going on. It's not only expats and long-timers and long-term visa holders that are having a problem with banking here in Thailand at the moment, but it is the local vendors. Many of the local vendors now had already changed over to the QR payment, which means you've got a little QR code, as you can see here, and people can pay on their phone just by scanning that QR code for whatever they may be buying. This actually is quite revolutionary for rural Thailand, because a lot of these people, they never even have bank accounts. And so I've seen a big increase in the number of, especially older rural Thais, people that now have bank accounts, and they're using bank accounts, and they're then using this QR code system. A number of my subscribers have warned against going cashless. Some people theorize that it could be the precursor to going to a central digital currency, which obviously could then lead to maybe a universal basic income, or controlling people's spending, or maybe a social credit system, as we see in China to some extent. And so many people on this channel have always advised against when they see me scam paying, which, to be honest, I do quite a lot myself. I do hear you, but I guess now is some real life evidence of why you might not want to do that, and that's because a lot of the local sellers now have completely swapped over back to cash. That's because, again, accounts are being frozen. And so from what I understand, if an account is a Mule account or may have any suspected fraudulent activity on it, and that account pays to one of these local sellers through the QR code system, then that seller's account could then be blocked, and has been actually blocked, and they can therefore have no access to their funds. This is apparently to prevent fraud and money laundering. And so, babe, have you seen any sellers yet that have switched over from QR to cash?
I see one store that they changed from QR to cash, because I think it's about their concern about this thing. But also some people, I asked them in the fruit shop, that some people that still use QR because they solve the problem by receive the money today and then withdraw it out.
Why do you think this is happening as a Thai? What do you think is going on?
I think this one is the latest step for I mean the hardest things they can do to stop all the fraud account, you know. So they just use it the hardest things to stop it. Because in Thailand we have the problem like you open the account for somebody and sometimes they hire you, okay, I give you 5,000 baht, can you give me your account? That is a problem in Thailand. And then like rural people, they don't know, right, what they use account for. So they get 5,000 baht and then they give the account to somebody that they don't know. And so many so many rural people get in jail as well because that account is like going to use in the dark dark business.
Dark market, yeah. Black market.
Yeah, in the black market,
yeah.
Like that. Many rural innocent people also go jail for this, you know,
okay.
Because from the small money they receive from somebody.
Yeah. So this is Naked Guru, but I do want to give a Thai perspective, of course. Some Farang babbling on about this. Now, on top of this, what it is creating here is a subtle paranoia with the locals in that they don't think, therefore, even if it's not actually directly happened to them, they worry that their money is not safe in the bank. And of course, a lot of these Thais, they live hand to mouth. So the money that they make today, they need today to buy stock for the next stall or to buy food to live, you know. It's not like they've got sitting on piles of cash which they can have backup reserves of. And so it's creating a paranoia which is making them run to the banks and withdraw their money from the banks. You kind of got them over to the QR code. First of all, you've got them banks, which is a miracle in the first instance. Many of them in our village still don't have banks, but first they've got bank accounts, they've got bank numbers, then they're moving on to the QR code, and now this has probably knocked everything back years for any plan for going completely online. They have a digital task force. I think it's called Digital Banking Task Force, but I'll put the real name there. I can't think of it at the top of my head right now. But they do have a task force that is looking into this and trying to solve the problem. And obviously a lot of normies, a lot of normal people just doing day-to-day business are being affected by this change in policy and freezing of accounts. And now I don't think it'd be so far out to consider why this may be happening as well. Like, is it purely an internal crackdown for the Thais to try to, we're going to be walking through this now, is it purely an internal crackdown from just the Thai government or Thai banking to sort out this money laundering and the fraud, or is it a wider global issue of financial regulation and financial policy globally to try to reduce fraud and money laundering? But I don't think it's too much of a stretch to suggest that that information of KYC may not be used in the best way for the individual in the future. Also, as countries' debts skyrocket and their spending skyrockets, the governments need a way to make more money, and the government makes money by taxation, and it makes most of its money, particularly like in the UK, of taxation of individuals, not just corporations, which is crazy if you think about it. And so here in Thailand, perhaps to know all movements of money, who's got what, where money is moving, is an easier way to then tax people efficiently and make sure the government is getting its cut out of its citizens, like the US do quite efficiently. No matter where you are in the world, if you're from the USA, you're probably paying tax one way or another on what you're doing. And so it could be that that system is going globally, and Thailand is just one push from the international community here. I'm just speculating though, by the way. This is not the news. I'm just a little bit naturally suspicious and somewhat paranoid when things like this happen with expats and freezing accounts. I'd like to know what you think on that matter. I also do think, as a UK citizen, that soon there will be global taxation on UK citizens. Perhaps in the next 5 to 10 years, I think we may start seeing the UK government doing as the US government does and taxing citizens globally on everything they make to make sure, well, to keep the government afloat, to be honest, because without that, I think the government is in serious trouble, and you're just going to keep piling on debt. Walking around the market here though, you do see that a lot of the vendors have still got the QR code system up there. They're giving you the QR code to scan. So although it is reported in the press that a lot of them are throwing the QR away and just going cash, they clearly are here. You can see these two stalls in front. They also have the QR scan there. So actually not much change, Abib. Everybody's got QR still.
Yeah, everybody got QR still, but I asked them like they're scared. They say they're all scared, but they know like many people that don't hold cash.
Damo likes this kind of stuff, not really my style. So this guy, he's also got QR. Damo says, can I ask? He wants to know about the QR, how it's affected you. Are you using it or not? He said, I'm not scared. She said, are you worried about the money being frozen in the account? And he says, yeah, he has worried. He prefers to take cash than the QR. And he said it's scary. And Damo says that it's not usual for people to carry money. Like usually people don't have cash. And he said it's not really a problem because not very many people use the QR system. He also just mentioned about the fake cash that's dotting around, which I think is another story that's come out in the news. He said he has a stall further away from here as well, and that he actually received the fake 100 baht. So I have seen a couple of news stories knocking around about fake printed money here in Thailand, fake 1,000 bahts, fake 100 bahts, and so I guess this is just a preliminary sign of Thailand's banking system evolving. I think this is going to happen quite exponentially and fast soon, guys, because you've got crypto here as well. Thailand has a very liberal attitude on crypto. In fact, it's no capital gains on crypto here. This is going to revolutionize the way people send and receive payments. It already is in some ways. I've just got a friend that sold a business into Bitcoin, actually, of a substantial size. And so I think that things are going to change, and maybe this turbulence that we're seeing with expat banking and this QR code system is all just a part of the anti-fraud, anti-money laundering movement. I am interested to hear any of your stories though, and I'm sure my subscribers would be interested to hear your stories on this. If you have any experience or anecdotal reports on what I've just talked about today, please leave them in the comments below, because it can be educational to others that watch the channel, and myself included. I'm not an expert on these things. Like I really just go off a lot what I hear on my channel, what I hear from you guys, what I hear from Damo, what I read in the press. Damo wants to order a couple of kebabs and also ask this guy. So he also has QR code here as well. She said, can I ask you a second about the problem with the QR code? How do you feel about it? He's just not bothered. He's indifferent. He said he takes the cash out every day, so he doesn't just hold money in the bank, which seems to be a common theme with a lot of these guys. So he said that also since he started to see about AI and the technological development, that he never keeps money in his account. He just holds cash, and anybody that does pay from the QR, he just withdraws it straight away. So that's another anecdotal opinion. I think that's important. If you're going to do vlogs like this, just chat with the actual people instead of speaking on their behalf. That's what we try and do on this channel. As ever, please do let me know any stories that you might have on this. I have received a couple of emails from people as well. Perhaps I'll share their stories in the next vlog on this topic. I'm hoping it's something that's going to blow over, but I am expecting in the future for more regulation, more government oversight into the movement of money and how much money you have from all governments around the world. Because to be honest, without you, they crumble. They're nothing. They have no power, and they cannot waste and blow the money on anything because they worry about where it's coming from. And as I've said, you only have to look at the debt to know that that money's got to keep coming from somewhere, doesn't it, guys? So I will just stick a bonus point in here that Damo's just been telling me about, that's in the Thai press at the moment as well, is some Thais are finding it quite suspicious that only the local vendors seem to be affected by this. Like people that are scamping in the petrol stations and things like that the petrol stations don't seem to be getting their accounts frozen. It's the local sellers. Why do you think that is, babe?
I don't know. This is a question of
Why do you think though? Why do you think?
Huh? I don't know.
Could it be maybe they're only interested in tracking where the money's moving of people that usually get cash in hand, so the government can track who's got what money and whatnot?
No, that is the question for many people at the moment, like, why? Because right now they point to is the bank fault. Why the bank doing this to or the small account? You know, why the big account, the big company, you know, corporation like that? Why it's not get blocked like other seller, like in the market like that? You know, it's a question right now. So
I guess we'll find the answer in a later vlog, but I have my ideas. I don't know about you guys. There have been a couple of cases Damo told me about, like a delivery driver that had his bank frozen because he took a payment, and he couldn't work for like a month.
4 months.
4 months. 4 months. So, because all of his money was in there, like, and obviously they use this money to buy petrol and to keep what they're doing going. So there's been definitely local people affected. We don't know anybody directly that has or hasn't, but it's funny that, isn't it, that it seems to be the lower people, the people that have the small stores, the people that deal with cash a lot, that are having accounts frozen or impacted from this, what's going on. So again, thanks for joining today, guys.